What's the point of having anything legalized if you can't buy it? So many states in the United States have shown that the income of marijuana can be put to good use in education and health, and nobody in Congress have ever tried to deny when I compare it to alcohol, because they know it's true. Having a legal market, it's gonna open the doors for truth, and for science, and for the best information available.
The Grow World community is home to over 23 countries of the biggest commercial cannabis growers in the game. Growers join our community to trial new solutions in their facilities, such as lighting, nutrients, media, and more. So if you own, operate, or work at a commercial cultivation facility anywhere in the world, join the movement for free at growworld.com. We have hundreds of products and services you can trial today. Take your grow to new heights and try before you buy. Here's a quick list of some of our most popular trial campaigns that made this tour possible. The Grow World Colombia tour was made possible by our title sponsor, Valoya. Now, this is one of the world's oldest LED horticultural manufacturers based out of Finland. They make a very high quality LED fixture. And specifically, I want you to take a look at the Solray 385. In Valoya's words, they are super excited about this fixture because it allows your plants to express their optimal phenotypical traits. They also have some new value engineered technology coming out soon. All of these lights, you can actually take a look at the link below and sample select fixtures for your qualifying facility. It's super easy. Take a couple minutes, answer some questions about your farm, and if you're approved, Valoya will ship you a light for you to check out. Huge shout out to Valoya. Thank you again for making our Grow World Colombia tour possible. When you're building out a new commercial cannabis facility, what are you thinking about? One of those elements should be environmental controls. Cultivators just like you face 3 significant climate obstacles when attempting to harvest high-quality, high-yielding crops. They are temperature, humidity, and airflow. All 3 of those can be controlled by Andin dehumidifiers. And with their new VLGR technology, which is patent pending, you're in good hands. The regulatory landscape is complex. Procure has helped shape industry expertise when it comes to IPM. Procure clients get access to Chief Science Officer Dr. Bernie Lorenz, who actually helps design each customer's bespoke SOP. You can sign up to trial all of these solutions right now at growworld.com. What are you waiting for? Check the description below with direct links to each campaign. And if you're qualified, you might even be able to sample the menu from this member's farm as well. So let's start with your background. Like how does this all come to be? Like where did you start when let's say politics, meditation, yoga? Let's bring it back to the early days.
So I'm Colombian. I'm congressman in Colombia, but I studied my high school in the United States. I went to the French school in New York, Lycée Français de New York. And then I came back to Bogota, and for many years, well, I studied philosophy at the University of Los Andes here in Bogota. And I started studying meditation almost 16 years ago. And then I became a teacher of yoga and meditation for many years. I have a spiritual guru in India, of India. I don't know how I ended up doing all that, but maybe at a time where I wasn't very happy, I started looking for something that, I thought something else had to go on to get out of the darkness that I was into. And so I found meditation, and that changed my life completely, actually. And during those years, I started studying lots of the ancient texts from India. And I discovered that the highest form of yoga for them was karma yoga, which is the path of service, basically. So I decided, I have to start serving somehow. And I started teaching meditation in many places in Bogota. And one day I decided to do a big meditation with all the people that I have taught for years. And I filled an arena out of them, like more than 9,000 people came to meditate. Wow. And and that day people started saying, dude, you have so many followers, why don't you do some politics? And I never thought of it because there were politicians in my background, in my family, and I actually wanted to run away from it. I knew what it was because I saw it since I was small, and politics was not of my interest at that time. But when I saw 9,000 people coming in meditation, I started feeling that I could do a little more. And so I ended up, like 1 or 2 years after that, I decided to run for Congress. And I won, surprisingly, because it was the first time I did it. I wasn't very well known in the political, ambience of the country. People thought, well, a yogi entering politics is very weird.
Seems like an oxymoron almost.
Yeah, it's very, very unreal, no? But I had 17,000 votes, and I won my first election. And from then on, that was maybe 2013 now, that I started my political career, so it's 11 years almost now. Well, things have changed a lot because I'm still a yogi, but of course my language and everything that I've done in politics have really changed me, because it's a very tough world, very rough place to be. But I think I keep a balance between my spiritual life and like the real, power struggles of the politics. And many of the things that I have done in politics have to do with the interests that I had, let's say, in my youth. The caring for environment, the love for animals. I've passed many bills in favor of animals. I'm an animal rights activist here, and an environmental and climate change activist. But all my adolescence, let's say from my 15 to my almost 30s, I was a marijuana consumer. And of course, I had to see how in this country, during the 90s, it became legal. But at the same time, it was illegal to buy or sell. So people who smoked here marijuana had to go to, the underground scene, very dangerous places to buy marijuana. So, although I don't smoke marijuana anymore, since my 30-somethings, I quit marijuana, I understand perfectly that the people who actually decide to do it have the freedom to do it, but at the same time, they have to go to an illegal market to get the substance. So I decided with some partners in Congress to start the fight for creating a legal market for it.
That is incredible. And 30 years later, it is still illegal, no?
It is legal. It's legal. No, it's not legal to buy. This is the thing. In Colombia, as in Germany right now, I mean, Colombia has the same situation that Germany just did. And it is that you are able to have it. You can have it. You can possess the marijuana. You can have the substance. If the police stops you and you have marijuana in your possession, they can't do anything. You can plant up to 20 plants per person. In Germany, they just did 3 plants. In Colombia, we have the right to have 20 plants
That's
per
a
person.
lot of plants.
It's a huge quantity. I don't know what they were thinking back in,
Yeah.
in the 80s, because this is a law from,
Wow.
from 1986. Since 1986, Colombians have the right to plant 20 plants per person, to have 20 grams of marijuana, and to you are able to smoke it, and nobody can tell you, or well, now you don't smoke anymore. I think no, people don't smoke anymore. Since then,
We have
they eat
vapes
it,
and
or
edibles
have
and tinctures.
some
There's so
some-
many methods
exactly.
now.
Well, I stopped in my 30s. I'm 45 now, so
You're
it's-
smoking 2 joints in the morning
I was smoking 2 joints in the morning, 2 joints at night, 2 joints in the afternoon.
to make me feel all right.
It used to make me feel right. So, in Colombia, it's legal to consume, it's legal to possess, it's legal to grow it, but it's not legal to buy it.
Wow.
So that's very stupid.
It's perplexing, no?
It's very stupid. It's the most stupid thing that you have done, because you have a legal substance, you can grow it, you can have it on the streets, you can even smoke it on the streets if you want. But you cannot buy it. So you have to go to illegal markets to get a substance that is legal to have, is legal to smoke, is legal to grow. It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
It's a legal substance that you have given it to illegal market. So to drug dealers, to the worst of our society. Colombia might be the country who has somehow suffered the worst consequences of the war on drugs. The very, how do you say this word in English? I mean, the war on drugs is the most stupid thing, the most stupid international policy that we have created, because it failed. I mean, year after year, people have been doing more substances, doing more drugs. The war on drugs has had no effect on declining the consumption of drugs in the world. It has only increased. But you have given all this money to these drug cartels. It's the most stupid thing. So in Colombia, we have been trying to create this legal market to make it coherent with the fact that it's legal to smoke marijuana. It's just as simple as that.
And right now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's a massive export market. So we're going to be filming some farms and an extraction lab here in Colombia during our trip. And these are some of the largest farms in the country, I believe, maybe even Latin America, but they're only exporting. They don't have a dispensary, a retail network, sophisticated distribution network to get it in the hands of consumers here.
Well, Colombia must have a market of about 1.5 to 2 million people who consume marijuana. And this we know because there was a survey done on the consumption of different substances. And if you extrapolate the results, you might come across 1.5 million people.
There's more people in Bogota that smoke weed than that. There has to be
No. But they think it's almost 1 million to 2 million people who smoke marijuana in Colombia. But we produce at least for 6 to 7 million people consumption. So you ask yourself, so where does that marijuana go? And of course, it doesn't stay in the Colombian market. It goes outside. And since the United States became, the United States is the biggest consumption of marijuana in the world, and today the first producer of marijuana in the world. So Colombians started not looking up anymore, but looking down. And when I say looking down, I mean looking to the south.
Brazil,
Ecuador, Chile, Argentina. It's all a market that Colombia is filling up with marijuana.
Wow.
So now we don't look anymore to the north, because in the north it's legal in 25 states.
Tienes vecinos
You are the first producers of it. So now we have to look to somewhere else. And the Colombian illegal market has to look somewhere else. And the cocaine market, which is the biggest market of Colombian drugs, looks up still to the United States and Mexico. Of course, everything passes through Mexico. They look towards Europe through Africa and other routes, Venezuela and stuff. But for marijuana, of course, you're not gonna bring marijuana to Europe.
No.
That doesn't make any sense. You're not gonna bring marijuana to
In
Mexico
the
or
illicit markets.
Huh?
In the illicit markets, like yeah.
Exactly.
You
So
just grow it over there.
of course.
Yeah.
So where do you have to look? Where is the market for Colombian marijuana now? Of course, to the south of America. So Brazil, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Argentina. That is the market where all these excedents of the production of marijuana that is not consumed locally goes.
We will be filming some farms that actually export into Australia, Germany, Israel, several other markets. Are you familiar with those as well?
Not very much. Not very much. Let's say I've been seeing very clearly how lots of Colombian marijuana has been exported to the south of our continent, but I'm not very familiar with Israel getting marijuana up to Israel.
Yeah,
It's
all
crazy.
over. Yeah. I mean, I truly think that the global market, the legal global market of cannabis will include uh, cultivation across the equator for lower costs of production. This is just my opinion, but this is where I see it going. That's why we're here to document the future,
Yeah.
right? Try to help others around the world that are building businesses understand their piece of the puzzle. And with the lower cost of production down on the equator, trade routes already established, infrastructure already there for exportation, etc. I see a lot of the production. I'm American, right? I see a lot of production in the U.S. Minimizing to craft, and a lot of growers, unfortunately, just with overtaxation and other burdens that we have, oversaturation of product and supply, I could see a lot of growers going out of business, consolidating. And just like roses did, what, 35 years ago, moved
Yes.
from the States down to Colombia,
Definitely.
I could see a similar migration pattern for cannabis.
I'm sure. Yeah, definitely. It's going to happen like this. I agree with you. And you can see it now. I mean, the production in Colombia of, of the illegal markets, also small part of legal for medical uses, which is legal in Colombia also. Uh, it attracted a lot of people to the marijuana business. I'm sure Colombia is a great place for growing marijuana. We have in the Andes part, you can have different kinds of heights where you can cultivate
Microcultures.
different kind of things with different kind of purposes, different kinds of um, CBD and THC, different
Cannabinoids.
exactly different cannabinoids and different kinds of plants can grow in different heights. So we have a very rich soil also and sun the whole year.
Wow.
So of course it's we're gonna attract a lot of people for that.
The story writes itself, right?
Definitely.
And there seems to be a very strong cultural want and desire for more cannabis. I mean, we just have been here for 1 day so far, and we went out to the centro and a couple parks, toured some, just kind of public areas to get a vibe check, and everyone's smoking.
There is a very big culture in Colombia.
Professionals, everyone.
And if you go to Medellin, you will see how it's there because
Hay más allá.
it's in that survey they did, they discovered that it might be in Medellin where you have most of the consumption. Like 1 out of 3 people in Medellin declare having smoked marijuana at least one time in their lives. So you can see that in that city there's a very big market and a big culture around marijuana.
Yeah.
But also in Bogota, it's a very big culture, and you have cannabis clubs, and you have actually a table of people who participate in public policies that advocate for marijuana.
Yeah.
Yet last year it was the first time our major financed cannabis. How do you call una feria?
A fair.
A fair.
There's a cannabis fair.
A cannabis fair that was paid by the city of Bogota, where there was going to be smoking, because before they used to give some money for that fair, but it was forbidden to have smoking in the fair. But last year they opened it up for the possibility of financing it, even with people smoking marijuana in the fair. So I mean, we have
It's progression.
it's progression, definitely.
And in my notes, you are currently writing regulation of cannabis use right now. 4 out of 5 debates have happened so far. There needs to be 8 in
Well,
total.
exactly. Well, the thing is, a former president of Colombia, okay, so I'll tell you, you have to understand the timeline. In 1996, we came out with a law that permitted the smoke of marijuana. The minimum dose of marijuana was 20 grams. You can have 20 plants and you can smoke it freely, but you can't buy or sell. That law, somebody came and how do you say, la demandó? They impugnated the law. And the Constitutional Court in 1993 came out with a sentence that said that that law is constitutional. So that means that now the protection of the right of people of smoking marijuana is not only in the law, but in the Constitution of Colombia. So a former president trying to battle the Constitutional Court made a constitutional amendment to try to forbid all consumption of all drugs in the Constitution. And he included, he passed a bill that reformed the Constitution and said you cannot have or consume drugs anywhere in Colombia. Then the Constitutional Court said, yeah, we understand what you say, but we understand it in a medical sense, because they put it they put it in an article of the Constitution who talked about health. So the Constitutional Court
Interpretation.
says their interpretation of what they did in Congress was, oh, you are talking about health issues here. So our sentence is still in rule. So now what we're doing is we're taking that prohibition that they put in the Constitution and we're doing an exception with cannabis. This is what we're doing. But it needs 8 debates because it's a constitutional amendment. A normal law in Colombia, you need 4 debates. But to include anything in the Constitution, you need 8 debates. It's much harder. We already came once very close because we went up to the 8th debate. And by 1 vote, we lost.
No mames.
En el último debate, por un voto, en el último debate, we lost. And actually, we didn't lose because we had the majority. But because it's a constitutional reform, we needed a qualified majority, and we didn't get, by 1 person, we didn't get the number of votes we needed. But we had more votes than the people who were opposing it. So it's very sad because now we need to start all over again. We have to go to 1st, 2nd, 3rd, up to 8th debate. We have to start all over again. We're going to start again in 20 of July this year. We're going to present the bill again. But we were very close. And we would have been now maybe the 4th country in the world, 4th or 5th country to have, a regular market.
Who are those other markets?
Well, Uruguay,
Yep.
Canada,
Yep.
Holland.
And now Germany?
No, not Germany, because Germany doesn't have a legal market. What they let you is to have it.
Yeah.
It's just as Colombia right now. You can have it, but you can't buy it.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's just very ridiculous. I can't understand in any way that you have something that is legal to have, but it's illegal to buy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
For some people, maybe, but for the majority, no. I mean, it
if
creates it's a little counterintuitive.
What's the point of having anything legalized if you can't buy it? I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the fear. It's based on the fear of, some very radical conservatives thinking that if you, okay, smoke it if you want, but don't buy it, because if we put it on the market, maybe more people are gonna start buying it. And I think the international experience, as perhaps many of the states in the United States, show that you can, make better cases, or have more control, or even have better publicity on the dangers of marijuana, and taking youth out of consumption, that in an illegal market. So it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I'm a child of the DARE era. Have you ever heard of that?
Of course,
Yeah.
the Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
I used to
So,
live in the States at the time
oh,
where
that's
Dare
right.
came out. Yeah,
Yeah. So didn't work on me, but
didn't work at all.
yeah, it was almost like a broma, it's
Yeah.
just like a joke, to be like anti-dare. It's just coming down too hard on a generation.
Yeah.
And what are they gonna do? Rebel.
Absolutely.
So I'm more of an advocate for education,
Definitely.
and don't shy away from, like, this is cannabis. These are the impacts on your brain, your development, your physical, mental health, etc. Here's some examples of what could go wrong, some examples of what could go well. We just didn't have that growing up in the States.
Definitely. And you see, um, if you don't have a legal market, it's much more difficult to do education,
Yeah.
because the education then is done by drug dealers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if
You're right.
If you're gonna go get marijuana, who is the first person that you go talk to? A drug dealer. You don't, because if it's still illegal, it's not gonna be taught in schools. This information is not gonna be given by the government. No, you have to go somewhere else. So having a legal market, it's gonna open the doors for truth.
Yeah.
And for science, and for the best information available.
100% agree with you. And it's, you've heard of the term gateway drug, right? But in my opinion, it's changing the menu that cannabis is on, right? If that menu is next to heroin, coke, blah, 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 like on an illicit menu, compared to just take the same exact product, move it over to another menu, and there are, maybe edibles, tinctures, vape cartridges, flour, right? Maybe in other markets, mushrooms, right? Maybe there's other, like, I really love hongos, mushrooms, chocolate mushrooms, shroomin' and zoomin', baby. I want to get a t-shirt made of that. Don't steal that. I'm going to trademark that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, just switching it from one menu to the other, that
Changes the perspective completely.
changes the entire perspective. The same exact plant.
Definitely. And I think that there's at least in Colombia, I don't know how it works in the States, but here there's such a huge hypocrisy about this getaway, how do you call it?
Gateway drug.
The gateway drug.
Yeah.
Because there's no bigger gateway drug in this country than alcohol.
Oh my gosh.
And alcohol is a regularized, I mean, there's a
normalized,
normalized
socialized,
market.
yeah.
People here give aguardiente,
Aguardiente.
our, most
Yeah.
typical drink. They give it to little kids when they're 13, and they think that's gonna make them tough and grow up and whatever it is. And well, I don't have to explain that alcohol is almost 4 times more dangerous than marijuana consumption.
It's a poison.
So it's very hypocritical in this country, at least, to try to stop the marijuana regulation when you have 10 million consumers of alcohol that really create problems for society. In Colombia, you can put the map of alcohol consumption right next to the one of family abuse, violence against women and children. And it's the same map. It's exactly the same. The places where there's more alcohol consumption are exactly the places where there's more violence against women, against children and stuff. So how can you be so hypocritical and think that marijuana is open up a whole universe of other drugs, when you have maybe the worst drug in the market creating violence everywhere in the country. I just don't, and nobody in Congress have ever tried to deny when I compare it to alcohol, because they know it's true. It's just as simple as that.
Are there large like alcohol lobbies in Colombian politics?
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, I tried to make it visible in the last debates on how there's one congressman, his family name is Lopez. He comes from Medellin, actually, from that place. His family is the biggest distributor of alcohol in the whole state.
Wow.
And they oppose marijuana regulation.
I wonder why.
It's just as simple.
Yeah. Yeah, where there's smoke, there's a fire.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a bunch of sayings that we could trade back and forth. So I'd love to learn, just put it out in the universe. Ojalá this bill to change the Constitution passes. You go through 8 debates, everything passes to what you want. What does the future of that market look like?
Well, there's a big debate on the model of the market here, because as you saw, the model that Uruguay decided to take is the state, the government is the one who has control on the market. Opposed, for instance, to Canada, where it's private market. And most of the people here will agree that Uruguay's model was not the most effective one to combat the illegal markets. Only 35% of the market is legal in Uruguay now. And Canada, in the first year of regulation, 50% of the market became legal. So as I imagine it, I think it has to be like a free trade market with some control from the government. Because in Colombia, prohibition have left over many victims. And maybe the first victims of this prohibition are the indigenous communities, for instance, who are growing it right now in the Cauca. I'm sure you'll go there. If you go, Cauca is the northern part of Cauca, is where you have the biggest production of marijuana. Toribio, Caloto, Condoto, Corinto are some of these municipalities where you have the very big illegal plantations of marijuana in Colombia. And there's such violence around that market in that area. Many people killed per year there, many stigmatization, lots of difficulties. So you have to be able to include these people in that market. If you don't do that, then there's going to be big injustice and lots of resentment. That's what happened with the regulation for cannabis in the medical sector. These people were left over, and they had the hope of being able to, go to a legal market, put their product in a legal market, being able to participate from the gains of that new market, and that didn't happen. Lots of the people who are gaining money out of it. Well, right now nobody's making money. It's very difficult in Colombia right now, even for the medical uses. But lots of foreigners came and put money, and they're able to get the top quality of it to be able to sell in the markets everywhere. But not the indigenous communities, not the small growers, not the local people. So we need to include them in that market. So
Absolutely.
the way I envision it is, a free trade market, not the government controlling everything, but people being able to create their own market. Actually, the market already exists. You just have to make it legal. There's a huge market in Colombia. But with some measures to be able to make these people participate, and not only the big companies that are going to come and of course are going to invest big money in it. So we need to strike a balance between both worlds.
Yeah. And just from what I've seen in the United States, it's extremely complicated, right? To regulate the safe use of cannabis and distribution, etc. It's almost like every state has their own unique model. Some do some things better, some do, some things really wrong, like California overtaxes to death.
Yeah.
Our companies out there, our growers, dispensaries, processors, etc. I haven't really found one state to have the best model yet.
Yeah.
Do you have like any country that you'd like to emulate or a state?
I mean, this is such a, let's say, new market in the world.
Right.
And the conditions here are so different from everywhere because, I mean, I think you guys can understand that Colombia has been the center of the war on drugs. So our context is very particular because this country have put millions of people dead because of drugs or the war on drugs. Our image as a country everywhere in the world is based on Pablo Escobar and all these Netflix series on the how the cartels worked and all these. So we have a very particular.
There's a fascination on it.
Absolutely. So and also lots of fear on it. So we have to create a market that at least at the beginning gives some assurance to most of the country that this is going to be really under control. And this is why, even for the medical uses, it's very difficult today because they have so many restrictions. Why? Because there's a very big fear on our society that this can elevate to, huge masses starting consuming marijuana. I don't think that's going to happen, but we have to assure and make sure that everybody is on our side. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, the opposition is going to make this impossible.
Yeah.
So we need, at least at the beginning, to have a very controlled market. And then when people see that this is the best way to go for education of children, for taking the money out of the cartels and being able to have some income for the government in this, as so many states in the United States have shown that the income of marijuana can be put to good use in education and health.
Absolutely.
When people see that this works well, then we can stop opening the market a little bit more and talking about the regulation of our drugs, because cannabis is not the problem of Colombia. The real problem of Colombia in the world of drugs is cocaine. But we are, I mean, I see the creation of a regular market for marijuana, the first step for other drugs in Colombia. And I think if there's one country who has the moral authority of doing all this, is ours. It's us who have put the death, it's us who have seen people killed because of this. It's this country, the one who has the worst reputation everywhere in the world because of this. So I think we have moral authority to do what is need to be done in the regulation of marijuana and cocaine.
I agree with you 100%. And this is a brand new show for us, right? We have 7, 8 years filming our last show, Canna Trips,
It's
on
awesome
YouTube.
you guys are here.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And we chose Colombia in particular because of that past, because of where you guys are at right now. I believe personally you have the largest opportunity out of any country in the world to be leaders, to be at the forefront of this transformation.
Absolutely.
Right? And turn that gateway into a good thing.
Absolutely. And to me, that's why it's so painful that the bill was not successful by one vote, because we're losing time.
Yeah.
And time is essential to be at the forefront of anything.
That's all we have.
And sometimes I don't understand how people in Congress can't see that Colombia has a huge opportunity and that we're just losing it to other countries in the region. Even
That's it.
Ecuador is going faster than us. Some other countries are going faster than us. So some other countries in other regions of the world are going faster than us, and we have a huge opportunity. We
That
can't
must be
lose it.
frustrating.
It's very frustrating. It is. It is for me because it's the opportunity to make something good of the most painful and horrible history of this country that has gone around the war on drugs, everything. The war in this country has been paid by the war on drugs. The corruption that we have seen in this country has been paid by the illegal market of drugs. I mean, how how can we get out of this cycle of death, violence, and corruption by creating markets that are regularized, that are clear, that are not illegal anymore, that you can bring all the actors that were into those violent cycles inside a regular and legalized market? That's the only way. There's no other way. I mean, the war on drugs failed. It's over. They have to understand it's over. It wasn't, I mean, it's impossible to get the results they want by doing the same thing all over again. 70 years of a war on drugs that has not worked. Now,
Expecting a different outcome.
regulation is the way, and I think people are starting to understand, but we can't waste any more time.
What needs to happen?
Well, I have the fear that if we don't do it in this Congress, it's not going to happen because
Este año.
because we have a left-wing government right now that is more open to this.
Okay.
And there's more liberal people in Congress today than ever. But I think because things are not going well with this government, the right-wing people are going to come back in the next government, and Congress is going to change again. It's going to become more conservative. So if we don't do it in this Congress, maybe in the next 10 years we won't be able to do it. So
10
it's
years.
urgent. It's urgent to do it now.
It's a pendulum swing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the pendulum is on our side right now if we
To make
push for
change.
it. Exactly. But it's gonna go to the other side very fast. So we need to do it now.
Yeah. So Colombia is set up as a pure export market as of today.
Yeah.
We're going to be filming farms that make up over 80% of the total country's export as of last year. Yeah. For everyone watching around the world, let's say someone who's a purchasing manager for a pharmacy chain in Germany or a massive extraction company in Australia that needs biomass or a makeup company in South Korea, right? What is the process at a high level for these companies to get into the Colombian market, buy biomass, purchase oil, raw ingredients? How does it work?
It's very difficult.
It's difficult.
It has been very difficult because it's already 6 years, I think, of the regulation for medical and cosmetic uses. We have just a law that was passed maybe 3 years ago, I think, for industrial uses of the hemp plants. But the way the government has made it very difficult to get licenses. And once you get the licenses, all the processes that you have to go through to put it on the market is very difficult because of the fear. Because I'll give you one example. I mean, cannabis in a regulated world should be inside the Minister of Agriculture.
Yep.
Because it's a crop. But in Colombia, it's not in the Minister of Agriculture.
Health?
But no, it's in the Minister of Justice.
What?
That is the Minister of Justice, the one who gives the licenses and the one who controls the market. Why? Because it's still seen as a dangerous substance, as a substance that should be criminalized.
When a pharmacy is trying to buy this plant from Colombia to sell to medical patients,
You have to go to the justice ministers, not the health minister, not the agriculture minister. You have to
makes
go to,
zero sense to me.
It makes zero sense. And although the last president declared the marijuana market one of special interest from Colombia, they did all the contrary. They put more barriers for the market. And that's why the market, having a huge opportunity, it's decreasing in Colombia. Companies are closing, people losing money everywhere uh, because of government regulations. It's just that. And it's very stupid because we had a very big opportunity of becoming an export inside a regulated market for all those things that you mentioned. For instance, in Colombia, they haven't even regulated for, how do you call, for example, for beverages of CBD. Still not legal in Colombia. You don't have a regulation for it. It's
Just
legal.
for a
It's
CBD
legal now
beverage.
yeah, for CBD. There's not one CBD beverage in this country still. After 6 years of opening it up for the market.
Juan Valdez, CBD
Imagine
coffee.
CBD coffee. The Colombian, I mean,
You guys would crush that market. Crush.
during the 70s, I mean, people knew about Colombian gold
Yeah.
and Panama Red,
Panama Red.
who used to be, I mean, it's a Colombian variety.
Yeah.
They call it, I don't know why they call it Panama Red because it's not Panamanian, but it's Colombian Panama Red, Mango Iche, Colombian gold.
Mango Viche.
Mango Iche.
That's a new one. I haven't heard of that one.
Well, Mango Iche is one of the oldest. It's a very it's very suave. How do you say? It's
Suave,
very soft.
Yeah.
Is maybe one of the softest.
Yeah.
It
doesn't
ganjas you can get.
punch you in the face.
It doesn't punch you in the face. So people use it for to be
Yeah.
just chill and
It's the
stuff.
daily driver.
Exactly, it's like
Yeah.
the daily driver. Mango Iche is very well known. And then
Do you have that here right now?
of course.
I need to get some of that.
Yeah, you should. And then there's the Corinto one.
Corinto.
Corinto, if you.
Okay.
Okay.
Juan?
Corinto.
Oh, Corinto.
So, you used to have all these very famous Colombian weeds.
Yeah.
And they were so famous for so many years. And the other thing that is very famous in this country is we have the best coffee everywhere. So you cannot make the match.
It's a marriage. It is a
But you
marriage.
still cannot. Even if it's, CBD, it's not THC.
Oh
It's
gosh.
CBD. And we haven't been able to get a regulation out of the government for this process to be able to consolidate. Imagine Colombian coffee with CBD. It's like the two best things that people know from Colombia
Absolutely.
in a product
Yeah.
that is not going to do you any harm and that actually could sell extraordinarily well.
Absolutely. So we were talking about the exportation of cannabis to all these different countries, and you explained that it's pretty difficult to buy from Colombia right now. But let's say, or to sell, really, I think you were mentioning, but to buy, let's say I'm a pharmacy chain in Brazil or Mexico, and I'd like to purchase biomass. Is there a pretty kind of straightforward path to reach out to the farm, buy from them directly? How does that work?
Actually, we just the market, the legal market has been here maybe for 6 years, but only maybe 2 years ago, it was open for the exportation of flour, for example. We couldn't export flour before. Now we can, and there's very nice companies who does and who have the highest quality standards, and they're selling in Brazil, in Israel, in Germany, so many places. And I think if government supported this market strongly, we could have one of the biggest markets in Latin America, no doubt. Because actually Colombians are very professional. I understood this a couple of years ago because we have a huge flower industry in Colombia. We are the second world exporter of flowers after Holland. And we have workers in Colombia that have been technified at a very high level for the flower markets who now work in the cannabis market. So we have very high standards of from the smallest job, the person who takes care of the plants is very highly qualified. You will see that when you go to Boyacá. You will see that. That's why actually they decided to put it there, because it's very close to where the old
that makes sense.
flower companies are. There's a lot of flower industry there.
overlapping in the similar work.
in the same place, and it's very similar work because to grow cannabis you need lots of technicities that the flower world already had in Colombia, and you will see that many of the workers who work in this cannabis industry now in that place come from the flower sector actually, because they learned there lots of the technicities of the soil, on how to build, on how to put. Well, I'm not an expert, but I was very surprised. So Colombia has a very big competitive advantage compared to other countries of the region because of the flower sector going to the cannabis sector. So, well, hopefully lots of the people who will see us will come to Colombia and see what these companies are doing, because they do a very good job. They're very good. And I think government has not been, at the level that the industry needs the government to help. I think government has become more a problem than a solution. And that's very sad.
Yeah, it is
Because
sad.
you have all these entrepreneurs from Colombian entrepreneurs with money that comes from everywhere that has financed these people, and today they see a government that just apparently doesn't care about the industry anymore.
Why don't they care?
I don't understand. I just can't. We had a very big hope with this left-wing government because they're more open-minded towards cannabis, and we thought, okay, they're going to invest money on this. They're going to make the regulation less difficult for entrepreneurs to be able to be in the market easily. They're going to open new markets like the beverages and the I don't know. How do you call
Edibles?
the edibles? I mean, as I seen, I don't know, you can correct me, but I think edibles are the biggest part, the part of the market in the United States that grows the most,
Fastest.
19% per year. I have to go to Miami to buy the hemp seeds for my salad. I'm vegan, and hemp seeds are awesome for me. And I can't get a hemp
They're
seed
illegal?
in Colombia.
No.
No, there's nobody who makes hemp seeds to buy in the supermarket. I mean, we have still so many things that we can do, but we need the government regulation to be in favor of the market and not against it.
What is their number one reason why they wouldn't be in favor?
Really, I don't know. My answer is I just don't know. I can't understand. Government has declared the marijuana market a special sector, something that should be prioritized in Colombia as an industry of value, but they're so slow and so inefficient that hasn't translated into real actions. So I just don't know.
Are there financial interests pulling them into a different direction?
I hope not. I mean, I've seen the alcohol lobby going against this. I'm not sure if they have tried to touch government institutions that are key for the regulation of cannabis. I hope not. I will say no. I don't know. I just think they're very inefficient and slow, and the last government really didn't do anything because they were afraid that most of the population that are very conservative in Colombia will judge them for being too open towards the cannabis sector. But for this government, I don't see that. I think they're just very inefficient.
And what would you say to everyone watching out there that wants to do business with Colombia over the next 10 years? What's your advice for them?
Well, I think they have to get in touch with the people who are already doing very good job here. There's companies. Well, you're gonna go to some of these companies to see how they work, and I'm sure you're gonna be impressed, because in a third world country like ours, to have this kind of technology, this kind of professionalism, and this kind of market opening, I think you're gonna be amazed. So get in touch with these people that have done the job, that have opened the doors already in Colombia, because they will buy you a lot of time, and they have the experience of having to dealing with a very careless government. So if you come by yourself and try to invest here, not knowing what has gone on in the last years, you're gonna lose a lot of time. Make sure that you go to Asocolcaña, which is the the union of all these companies who do lobby on the government to try to ease the regulation for the market. So get in touch with the people who have been in the fight here for regulation. I think that would be my best advice.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We absolutely love your country. We're day two.
This is an awesome country, man.
into
You're
our
gonna
trip.
love it.
Yeah.
And when you go to the countryside, you will love it even more because
Oh man.
this is the most beautiful country in the world.
Yeah.
I have no doubt of it. We have the two oceans. We have these mountains that are incredible, that give you so many, different climates, different vegetations, different flavors, different people, different cultures, different kind of everything. So thank you for coming so much to Colombia, and I hope you enjoy, and hope to see you in the States also, man.
Gracias por todo.
A ti, hermano. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for listening to the Grow World podcast. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram. Until next time.